Hello, good morning. This is Mr. Drew, and let's start our next lesson. And this time we will be jumping to a 4.2, which is the conservation of biodiversity. Sure. Okay, biodiversity and species extinction. So the Earth is home to an astonishing variety of life, from colorful coral reefs to dense tropical reinforced rainforest. Every ecosystem is filled with the countless organisms interacting in complex and fascinating ways. So this variety of life is what we call the biodiversity. Biodiversity is not just about the number of species, but also about the genetic diversity within populations and the variety of ecosystems that sustain life. So the greater the biodiversity, the more stable and resilient an ecosystem becomes. And this richness of life is under constant threat. Species extinction, and when we say extinction, this is the permanent loss of a species. And this has been a natural part of Earth's history, but human activity has greatly accelerated the rate of extinction in recent centuries. So habitat destruction, as you can see in this um, picture, climate change, pollution, and overexploitation of resources. And these are the major causes of extinction. The loss of even a single species can disrupt ecosystems and diminish the balance that sustains life, ultimately affecting humans as well. So, from a biblical perspective, biodiversity reminds us of God's marvelous creativity and purpose in creation. In Genesis 1 tells us that God created every living thing according to its kind and declared that it was good. In the book of Psalms 104 also beautifully describes how creation depends on God for sustenance and showing the interconnectedness of all life. So as stewards of creation, in Genesis 2:15, humans are called not only to use natural resources but also to care for and protect them. So when species go extinct due to negligence or greed, it reflects our failure to fulfill this God-given responsibility. So in this lesson, as we explore the importance of biodiversity and the reality of species extinction, let us reflect both scientifically and spiritually. For the scientifically, we seek to understand the mechanisms and consequences of biodiversity loss. For the spiritual, we are reminded of our role as caretakers of God's creation. So this dual perspective challenges us to value life in all its forms and to act responsibly for the sake of future generation. So this is a very good question to start. Are the numbers of extinctions in the world increasing at the moment, or have there always been extinctions? So perhaps you never thought of that, but this is a very good time to ponder or to search. It is very common that newspapers have alarming headlines about the risks to biodiversity. And what does the word biodiversity mean to a journalist, an ecologist, and a politician? So for the first activity that is enumerated for today, you will be doing activity one, titled Biodiversity. So there are three levels of biodiversity: the species diversity, ecosystem diversity, and genetic diversity. So species richness and their evenness are both components of biodiversity. The greatest biodiversity is where there is a large number of species, all of them in fairly large stable populations. So you will be watching this video and then you will be answering questions. These questions for questions. The first one is give two reasons um, suggested in the film which could explain why there are more species near the equator. Second, species richness is the number of different species in an area, and evenness is the relative abundance of its different species. Why do you think both of these concepts are important in measuring biodiversity? Third, suggests how we might define ecosystem diversity. And lastly, genetic diversity is the variation that exists in genes of population. The rainforest species have a high genetic diversity. And why do you think this is beneficial? Then you will jump to number two, which is the comparisons between current and past biodiversity. And then the third one will be your homework, which is the causes of extinction. That's it. If you have any question, please let me know. Thank you. Um,